Through 9 games, the Warriors are fourth in the league in offensive rating and third in net rating. A big part of their success has been the revelation of Buddy Hield as an elite offensive piece next to Steph Curry. Today, we're going to deep dive into this possession to show exactly why these two are so valuable together. Let's review. When you have a potent offensive option like Steph Curry, who you can virtually guarantee is going to either draw a double team or destroy whatever drop coverage is given to him, your goal should be to utilize the spacing advantage that it gives you by just spamming that action. The Warriors did this in 2022 against the Nuggets in the playoffs by constantly spamming high pick and rolls as they do here with Steph and Jordan Poole to draw out Jokic, who was playing a lot in drop coverage. Here, Draymond sets the high ball screen. Austin Rivers is going to fight over, and Jokic is in drop. As Steph continues in the paint, you can see he's drawing this double. Both of them are extremely focused on him, which frees up Draymond to come set this flare screen for Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson can run off and get a relatively wide open shot. Even though he misses, it's the fact that he's getting so open because of this high pick and roll action. Here, Steph's going to dribble down the court. Wiggins is going to set this sort of drag screen in transition. And because they're so far back in this drop coverage, Steph has an ocean of space and is able to launch a pretty wide open three. These are two of the advantages that Steph can draw. Here's Jordan Poole doing a pretty similar thing. This time it's Kevon Looney who's going to come set this high screen against Aaron Gordon and is going to give Jordan Poole a lot of time to go downhill. Even in this situation, he's also drawing the attention of both Jokic and Aaron Gordon, and it frees him up to kind of play with all of this space and eventually score. To generate an advantage, however, you need more than just Steph Curry. You need other shooters who are just as dangerous that the defense is unwilling to leave open. In the past, this was filled by Klay Thompson. Bjelica is going to come set this screen right here, and Klay Thompson is going to once again get the attention of two different defenders, which shows you the defenses, despite Klay's semi-decline, whatever you want to call it, are still not willing to leave him wide open. That's an asset you need and works really well with a dangerous shooter like Steph. So when Steph is moving downhill after a high ball screen and you have a defender, in this case, Taurean Prince, that is glued to Klay Thompson, you've created a situation, as Draymond does here by setting this screen and Steph who's going to utilize it, where both Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis are focused on Steph Curry. Taurean Prince is not going to leave Klay Thompson open in this corner. So essentially what you have is 1, 2, 3 defenders who are having to deal with 1, 2, 3, 4 offensive players. This 4-on-3 is the bread and butter of a lot of Warriors actions and helps them out. It helps them create easy buckets when Steph Curry's on the floor. Now, this is where the brilliant short roll passing of Draymond Green comes into play. The short roll is when the screener, in this case, Draymond's going to set this screen for Steph Curry, is going to stop and roll short, quote unquote short, to the free throw line instead of all the way to the basket. So if Steph can make this pass, suddenly, as we've mentioned before, Draymond has the ability to manipulate this 4-on-3 advantage. Once again, 1, 2, 3 defensive players, and the Warriors having 1, 2, 3, 4. This 4-on-3 helps the Warriors create a lot of advantages here, and Draymond's really good at making reads out of this short roll and getting good shots for the Warriors. This isn't quite the short roll, but you can see he's always able to find the open man. And a lot of that advantage is generated by what Steph can give you. Here's another example of Draymond rolling, making a pretty easy alley-oop to GP2. Now, let's go back to the present. Let's talk about Buddy. Buddy Hield has been on a ridiculous shooting tear to start this season. He's also a pretty elite shooter in general. And because of this, defenders are still giving him a similar treatment to Klay Thompson, meaning that they're doubling him off of screens or keeping a man attached. The Warriors also run high screens here for Buddy Hield. And these types of looks are really good for a shooter who can shoot not only as fast as Buddy, but who also generate that much defensive focus. See here, another quick shot, does the fake, makes the pump, drains it. That type of shooting level is really important. And now the final wrinkle in all of this is help from the low man. So we're going to go back to that high ball screen that I talked about earlier, where Steph moves off the screen and Draymond is going to stop short. The low man in all of these scenarios is essential for providing help, especially with these high ball screens. The low man is found on the weak side, closer to the baseline, closer to the basket. This time, it's once again Austin Rivers and Jordan Poole as his defender. Now, remember how the Warriors are generating a 4-on-3 advantage here? Because of this, the defense naturally has to make a concession. They only have 3 to defend 4. Steph draws 2, especially off of this ball screen. So it's usually this low man, in this case, Austin Rivers, that has to decide if they're willing to commit anything to Draymond's role or stay attached to a properly spaced corner shooter. And when that corner shooter is someone lethal, like Jordan Poole, like Klay Thompson, and now like Buddy Hield, usually that low man's going to stay attached, which allows Draymond to play with the defense and find really good shots. All right, so let's see how all of these concepts come together in this play. Let's start off with the defensive assignments. Bilal Coulibaly is man-to-man defending Steph Curry. Rookie Alex Sarr is defending Draymond Green. As far as the Wizards' defensive coverage for what this high ball screen, it looks like they're playing drop and they're going to opt to double Steph off of this ball screen. Otherwise, it looks like Carrington is attached to Buddy Hield in the left corner, while Jordan Poole takes GP2 and Corey Kispert is tasked with Kuminga on the right wing. So let's see what happens immediately off of this high ball screen. Sarr and Coulibaly are obviously both immediately more concerned about Steph Curry shooting a 3 somewhere here than anything else that Draymond is going to do. You can see that Draymond's wide open. They're essentially hoping that Steph is going to give up the ball, as he appears to be doing so here, but they still want to make it difficult with outstretched hands for him to make passes out of this double team. All right, now let's take a moment to look at the floor spacing. We mentioned earlier how it really benefits the Warriors to have another dangerous shooter out on the floor with Steph. Buddy staying spaced out in this corner helps create the necessary space for Draymond to find options on this role, and also eliminates help from the strong side from Carrington. Now, it's usually inadvisable to help off a strong side shooter in the first place, but when it's a 40+% three-point shooter like Buddy, it's obviously a huge no-no. And as this play develops, you can see Buddy take small steps out of this left corner. This is kind of a lift, maybe it's not, but it could be a subtle lift. And what it does is it has the effect of making it even more difficult for strong side defenders to both deter any paint penetration and also prevent any kick-out passes to the strong side corner. Now, let's look up top. Jordan Poole obviously is not incredibly worried about GP2 as a three-point spacer, but because Steph is going to give this ball up so early, Poole still stays attached relatively to GP2 in case any kickout is made. And it's also important that GP2 stays this high to prevent Jordan Poole from moving too much forward into the interior and clogging it up. Now, the final wrinkle is Kuminga. He's spaced pretty deep in this weak side corner. Now, Corey Kispert, or most defenders, are usually not that concerned about his shooting ability. And because of this, it's virtually guaranteed that as the low man, he's going to provide some sort of help on this role if Draymond does get the ball and enter the interior. But JK is still doing a good job spaced this far out because this gap gives him time and momentum if he receives a pass on potentially a back cut. So let's move this play forward a bit. Steph's able to deliver a nice ball to Draymond on the short roll. He's still getting doubled by Sarr and Coulibaly, and Sarr is a little too late to stop Draymond here. This means that Kispert has to rotate, and as the low man, he has to come help, and he's not worried about Kuminga shooting a 3 out here. But Kuminga obviously sees this and is about to move. Now, let's pay attention to Buddy Hield. This video and a lot of the offense of the Warriors this season has been about what Buddy Hield can create. Him being spaced in this corner prevents Carrington from providing any help on Draymond Green. So what this boils down to, this entire play, is that Draymond rolling downhill against late help from Sarr and a rotating Corey Kispert, and Kuminga, who is going to cut to the basket basically as soon as Kispert turns his head. This 2-on-1, especially when paired with a super athletic wing like Kuminga that can reach super high heights in these alley-oops, is a nightmare to defend when you're also worried about shooters like Buddy Hield and Steph Curry. And when one of them is one of the greatest shooters of all time and one of them is a 40%er like Buddy Hield, the result is usually something like this, a monstrous jam. Now, if you like this explainer, check out our other videos where we review film from Warriors games and also around the league. Thanks for watching, like, comment, and subscribe for more.